This is Android Basics, in which we bring you up to date on the things that you should know to use your Android phone.
Now we turn to our Android Basics section, and after a little hiatus, we are back with our series on One UI, Samsung's interface, and John, the perennial Samsung demonstrator, is going to show us the security section of the Samsung Settings app.
Hello, today we're going to be continuing our way through Samsung Settings. The next section we have is Security and Privacy. There's a lot in here, so we're actually going to do it in two parts. Today, we'll be covering security, and in the next installment, we'll be covering privacy. But in the Samsung settings, it's all in one section, and this is what it's called.
Security and Privacy, Biometrics Permission Manager.
I'm going to go in here.
Security and Privacy. Navigate up button.
So at the very top, this is what we have.
One warning.
It's telling me there's something wrong.
Action is needed to keep your phone safe. Warning, image.
And if we continue to swipe, we will see what it thinks is good and what it thinks needs addressing.
Lock screen. Screen lock is set. Good.
It says my screen lock is good. I'm going to go in here.
Lock screen. Navigate up button. Setting a PIN, pattern, or password is important to keep your phone safe. For the most protection, use a strong password that's difficult for others to guess.
And then below that we have
Screen lock. Screen lock is set. Good. Fingerprints.
There's only two options here. Fingerprints we'll get to later, and screen lock type, so I'm going to back out.
Security and Privacy. Lock screen. Screen lock is set. Good.
Next we have
Account security. Check your Samsung account. Suggestion.
Let's see what this suggestion is.
Account security. Navigate up button. Staying signed into your Google and Samsung accounts is important for keeping your phone secure. A yellow icon will appear if you're signed out or if there's an issue with one of your accounts. It's important to check your accounts for unknown sign-ins, outdated passwords, and other issues. Samsung account security. Check your Samsung account. Suggestion.
So there's my Samsung account, and here is
Google
my
account security. No recommended actions. Good.
Google account. So I'm going to see what the recommendation
Samsung
is.
account security. Check your Samsung account. Security and Privacy. Navigate up button. Security and Privacy. Password. Change your outdated password. Suggestion.
Okay, so that's what's wrong, is my password is outdated. I'm not going to worry about that right now. There's a whole list of settings in here that you can go through, that it will tell you what it thinks you should change or have enabled. Things like two-factor authentication and that sort of thing. But I'm going to back out of here.
Account security. Samsung account security. Check security and privacy. Account security. Check your Samsung account. Suggestion.
So we're back on the main security page. I'm going to go down.
Lost device protection. This phone is allowed to be found when lost. Good.
So that's good. I have that turned on.
App security. Turn on Google Play Protect. Warning.
So this is warning me that I need to have Play Protect turned on, but I have chosen to turn that off so that I can install side-loaded things. So I'm going to leave that off.
Updates. No recommended actions. Good.
Updates, there's no recommended actions, but I'm going to go in here just to show you what it looks like.
Updates. Navigate up button. Security updates are important to keep your phone safe. Security update. December 1st, 2023. Good.
So it tells you what level of security patch you have.
Google Play System update. July 1st, 2023. Good.
And it also tells you that. So I'm going to back out.
Security and privacy. Updates. No recommended actions. Good.
So those are all of these sections that it recommends you have enabled for security reasons. Below that, we have a heading,
Additional security settings, heading,
and under that, we have,
biometrics,
so I'm going to go in here,
biometrics, navigate up, button,
and what we have,
face recognition, face registered,
first we have face recognition. I'm going to go in here,
confirm pattern, navigate up, button, pattern completed, face recognition, navigate up, button,
and here are all the options we have in here.
add alternative appearance to enhance recognition,
You can add yourself again with your glasses on or something like that.
face unlock, on, switch,
You could turn face unlock off if you want to temporarily.
stay on lock screen until swipe. When you unlock with face recognition, you'll stay on the lock screen until you swipe. Turn this off to go directly to the last screen you were using. On, switch.
So that is pretty self-explanatory. I have mine turned on so that when I hit the side key, it just goes into my phone to whatever I was last doing without staying on the lock screen.
Require open eyes. For added security, only recognize your face when your eyes are open. Off, switch.
So I don't require that. If you want to, you can turn that on.
Brighten screen. Increase screen brightness temporarily so your face can be recognized in the dark. On, switch.
Sometimes this helps, sometimes it doesn't. I found that in the complete dark, you're still not going to get recognized. And then we have,
About face recognition.
I'm going to back out.
Biometrics. Face recognition. Face registered.
Below this we have,
Fingerprints. 4 fingerprints added.
I'm going to go in here,
Confirm pattern. Navigate up, button. Pattern completed. Fingerprints. Navigate up, button.
and here we have,
Right thumb.
these are the fingerprints I've added.
Fingerprint 1.
As you've noticed, I did name one of them.
Fingerprint 2. Fingerprint 3.
It will, by default, just call them fingerprint 1, 2, 3, and 4, but if you want to rename them, you can. This helps if you're setting up a routine, for example, that you want your phone to do a specific thing if you unlock with a specific finger. Next we have
Check added fingerprints.
check added fingerprints. So if you've forgotten which finger is which, you can go here, put your finger on the sensor, and it'll tell you that's fingerprint 2, and then you can just rename it to whatever finger it is if you've forgotten.
Fingerprint unlock. On, switch.
It's turned on. Again, you could temporarily turn it off if you want to.
Fingerprint always on. Scan your fingerprint even when the screen is off. On, switch.
This is what makes Samsung phones better than Pixel phones, in my opinion. Is one of the things I miss when I try to use a Pixel. You can have it always unlock even if the screen is turned off, as long as you put your finger on the fingerprint sensor. Next we have,
Show icon when screen is off. On always on display.
this is whether or not you want the fingerprint area to be shown on your always on display. I think most of us don't even use an always on display.
Show animation when unlocking. Off, switch.
Another visual thing.
About fingerprints.
And this is the last item, so I'm going to back out.
Biometrics. Fingerprints. 4 fingerprints added.
Below that we have,
Show unlock transition effect. On, switch.
pretty self-explanatory.
About unlocking with biometrics.
And there you can go in to read a little bit about unlocking if you want to, but I don't, so I'm going to back out.
Security and privacy. Biometrics.
Now we're back on the main screen for security and privacy, and next we have,
Auto blocker. Keep your phone safe by blocking threats and other suspicious activity.
let's see what this is.
Auto blocker. Navigate up, button. Auto blocker. Off, switch.
I have it turned off.
Auto blocker keeps your phone safe by blocking threats and other suspicious activity. Blocks apps from unauthorized sources. Only apps from authorized sources can be installed. Learn more. Turns on app security checks. Apps installed on your phone will be checked for malicious activity. Learn more. Blocks commands by USB cable. Malicious chargers, computers, and other devices won't be able to send commands to your phone when connected using a USB cable.
So as you could see, a lot of this stuff is stuff I don't want blocked. I use a lot of ADB command type things when I connect to my computer. I sideload apps that I want to have certain permissions. So if you don't do any of that, you may as well turn this on just to be safe. Below that description we have
Advanced. Heading. Messaging app protection. Block images suspected of containing malware in messaging apps. On. Switch. Disabled. Block software updates by USB cable. Prevent installation of system software using a USB cable. This can prevent someone with physical access to your phone from installing malicious software without your knowledge. On. Switch. Disabled.
So those are two settings that you can choose to have enabled or disabled once you turn this feature on, but I have it off, that's why they are disabled. I'm going to back out.
Security and privacy. Auto blocker. Keep your phone safe by blocking threats and other suspicious activity.
And next we have
More security settings. Secure folder, secure Wi-Fi, and more.
this is going to be the last item in the security section. We're going to go in and see what we have.
More security settings. Navigate up button.
And on this page we have,
Secure folder.
I'm not going to open this because I don't use it, but this is where you can create a specific folder on your phone if you want to store all of your private files in one area and have it require authentication to get in. You can do that.
Secure Wi-Fi.
This is something I also don't use. It's Samsung's version of a VPN, so if you want to go in and enable that, you can go there.
Enhanced data protection.
Honestly, not sure what this is, so let's find out.
E2EE. Checking phone info. Enhanced data protection. Enhanced data protection. Protect your cloud data with end-to-end encryption so only your trusted devices can access it. That way, even if Samsung Cloud gets hacked, no one but you can access your data.
Okay, that's funny.
Encrypt backup data. Off. Switch.
So this is off. I don't think I'm going to turn it on now because it might be a bit of a process. But here's where you would go if you want to turn that on. I'm going to back out.
More security settings. Enhanced data protection.
Next we have
Samsung Pass. Use biometric authentication to verify your identity easily and securely.
So I use Google for all this, but if you want to use this, it'll save your passwords, it'll save your credit cards, your addresses, that sort of thing. So you can quickly get to it for autofill or anything else.
Samsung Blockchain Key Store.
Don't know what this is. Let's go find out.
Samsung Blockchain Key Store. Safe and secure. Store private keys safely in a secure area on your phone. Easily sign transactions. Confirm transaction with your private keys. Protect virtual assets. Set up a PIN or fingerprint to secure your virtual assets. To continue, read and agree to the terms and conditions.
So there you have it. I'm not going to set this up. I'm going to back out.
More security settings. Samsung Blockchain Key Store.
Next we have
SIM card security.
it in here.
SIM card security. Navigate up button.
There's just one option.
Lock SIM card. Require your SIM card PIN to unlock and use your SIM card. Off. Switch.
So you can lock your SIM card if you want to. I'm going to back out.
More security settings. SIM card security.
Next we have
Install unknown apps. Install unknown apps. Navigate up button.
this just takes you to a list of different apps that want the permission to install APKs. You can enable or disable them from here. I'm going to go back.
More security settings. Install unknown apps.
Next we have
Make passwords visible. Show password characters briefly as you type them. On. Switch.
self-explanatory.
Device admin apps. No active apps.
This is going to take you to a list of apps that want that privilege. Next,
Credential storage. Heading. View security certificates. Display trusted CA certificates.
I'm not going to go in there.
User certificates. View user certificates.
Just going to go through so you can see what options are here.
Install from device storage. Install certificates from storage. Clear credentials. Remove all certificates. Certificate management app. None. Disabled.
So that's all the certificate related things. The next heading,
Advanced. Heading.
and below that we have
Trust agents. Perform selected actions when trusted devices are connected.
let's go in here, find out.
Trust agents. Navigate up. Button.
Here's the description.
Apps set as trust agents can unlock your phone without requiring you to enter your PIN, password, or pattern when certain conditions are met, such as when a Bluetooth device is connected or when your phone is in a certain location. Make sure you only allow this for apps you trust. Misuse of this feature could allow someone else to access sensitive data on your phone.
So obviously this is not something you want to give any app permission to do. So I only have 3 apps on my phone that want this permission.
Modes and routines. Off. Switch. Air command. On. Switch. Extend unlock. On. Switch.
So those are all 3 Samsung apps. One has to do with the S Pen. One has to do with routines, obviously. And then the third had to do with just what Google calls smart lock. So if you want your phone to stay unlocked when it's connected to a certain Bluetooth device. Back out of here.
More security settings. Trust agents. Perform selected actions when trusted devices are connected.
Then we have
PIN app.
Pin app. You could turn this on or off.
PIN app. Switch.
This allows you to pin an app to your screen. What this will do is it'll keep the person from leaving that specific app. So like if you're handing your kid your phone and you want them to watch videos in a specific app or play a certain game or something, you don't want them leaving, that's what you can do if you have this enabled. Next.
Galaxy System App Update.
And this is the last item in here. And this will let you turn on or off having Samsung automatically update its system apps. Of course, this is turned on by default, but if you want to turn it off, you can. And that brings us to the end of this section of security and privacy. So we've covered security today. And in the next installment, we will cover privacy. But for now, I'm going to send it back to the crew.
Anyone want to say anything about this?
You know, security is so important, and I hope that everyone can just go in there and set these securities to their liking. And it seems like every company now is aware of the fact that we need privacy, because it used to be in the past that people or companies didn't care. I mean, everything was like free for the taking. I'm just looking back at Android 4X, 5X, even up to maybe Android 8 or whatever. I think we didn't start seeing some aggressive privacy implementations from Google until guys, maybe you'll say maybe as of Android 12 or maybe 11. I mean, we started seeing some of it coming on later on, but nothing like what we have today. So I'm glad to see these type of securities and privacy matters going on, because it is important, and everyone should always go into these places and be sure that those things are enabled, and there's some things that you want to disable, you can disable. It's totally up to you. It's, after all, customization, right?
Just to go off topic, MIUI, the Hyper OS that is coming, it's not Samsung related, but the Hyper OS that is coming is going to scan your phone and tell you if you have not set some privacy or security settings to the recommended values. So this is a nice new demo on HyperOS.
And adding to that, Google also implemented something in Android 14, actually, that they don't even talk about, but basically non-essential apps that don't belong, whatever, out of the box, those things are disabled until you run them. So security and privacy is being taken seriously. And I'm glad to see that, because it's one of those things that we always hear that, oh, Android is not secure, Android is not secure, and all of that. And so Google is finally doing these things. And I like what Xiaomi is doing too with that HyperOS. That's really neat feature. So Ed, maybe when you get the HyperOS on your device, I don't know if it will qualify or not, maybe you'll show us some of those features.
Yeah, it may well not. I got my first update in 5 months from Xiaomi the other week. It's very slow to update anything. It's had one upgrade already to Android 13. If it gets HyperOS, I'll definitely show it. It's very security centric anyway. Well, it is until you turn off MIUI optimizations, which I've done because it messes with the share sheet. But without that, it scans everything. They have some sort of tie-up with Avast, I think, where they use Avast to try and stop you doing most things that you ought not to want to do, and it scans everything, as I say, until you turn off MIUI optimizations. But if I do get HyperOS, I'll turn them back on and see what it does.
I think the sole purpose of getting Xiaomi, like letting out MIUI and bringing on HyperOS, is to just change the dirty image of MIUI that is there in minds of people. So there is a HyperOS ROM that you can flash, but MIUI is now tying up with HyperOS and bringing the HyperOS itself to Xiaomi phones.
Where's HyperOS on now before Xiaomi phones? Like, what was it doing beforehand?
Like there is a ROM on, it's called HyperOS, so you can flash it on any phone, but it's nowhere. It's just a ROM that you can.
It was
flash
never
it. Yeah, it was an OS, but it was never on Xiaomi phones. It was like universal. You can flash.
It was never adopted.
Yeah.
It's not like Color and Oxygen. Then it wasn't somewhere else first. It's just a
not.
ROM.
It's just a custom developed ROM.
Yeah.
So in other words, what you are saying though is that it's not Xiaomi that came up with HyperOS. It was a pre-existing OS that Xiaomi now decides to use. Is that what we're saying?
It was pre-existing, but Xiaomi must have made some changes and adopted it. But HyperOS ROM is pre-existing.
One of the things I didn't like about the Xiaomi, the cat UI, the Mi, I call the cat UI. And frankly, if this HyperOS, as I heard, is that good, it wouldn't be bad to kind of get one of those Xiaomi phones, newer ones, and just kind of demo it for the podcast. It would be really nice to see one of their newer ones and all of that running on that HyperOS.
If the new Redmi supports it, then that might be the one to get.
Yeah,
because that'll be cheap.
And I know we are talking about HyperOS on Samsung demos, but MIUI had a lot of ads, and it was very, very difficult to disable them. Even on settings, they had ads. On lock screens, they had ads. Then they improved it a bit, but now with HyperOS, I hope there are no ads.
You can kill the ads. You can kill them in MSA. One of Xiaomi security features. You get all their other annoying apps that have ads, which you either have to kill in app and or use different apps. But you can kill the system level ads fairly easily, and they die if you turn off Xiaomi optimizations anyway. But yeah, they are annoying. It's quite a spammy phone. Has anyone played much with Samsung Knox?
I think that the Knox though is just like a behind. Just keeping everything intact, watching over the house. I'm not sure that anyone can go around messing with Knox unnecessarily.
Yeah, I think it's just what they call their whole security situation.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah,
it's got a version number though, hasn't it? Like it is a thing. I think.
Yeah, it does have version numbers. They keep
Yeah.
iterating it.
It might be something similar to like you know how the Pixels have you'll probably know more. The Pixels have like a certain security Titan chip or something like that. It might be like Samsung's version of that.
It's exactly the same thing. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So it's what powers the phone. That's what keeps the house intact.
So Samsung's motherboard has a Knox chip, and it has a fuse that you cannot unlock the bootloader. If you unlock the bootloader, you trip that fuse forever, and there is no resetting it. So first, when you would unlock the bootloader, you would get a message that bootloader is unlocked, and you had something like a warranty void, but you could reset it with by flashing a zip file. But now with Knox, it's become very hard to unlock the bootloader, and if you manage it, you cannot reset that fuse. So there's an actual hardware fuse on the motherboard.
And that's one of the reasons why it's so hard to, boot unlock a Samsung phone, because Knox will not let you, or if you do, some things are not going to be protected and all of that. I mean, all of them are like that. But I mean, nowadays, though, really, to be honest, no one is into all that rooting the phone like it used to be. It used to be like a religious thing,
Yeah, that
if
would
you
be
know
a
what I
passion.
mean. But
Yeah.
nowadays, with all the added number of OS support, there's absolutely no need for monkeying around with this stuff. I wouldn't necessarily want to root my phone. I did it once with my Galaxy S4, which I regretted, and never again did any rooting of the phone.
There are still people with custom ROM flashing, but not with just rooting your phone, because you get almost all the features into Android, unless you want to like put some intensive kernel governors and you want to enable those underclocking things and all. Then you need to root your phone. Otherwise, I don't think anyone must root your phone even now.
And nowadays, phones are so powerful anyways. It's not like what we have back in those days, all that pokey phones and all of that. What's the point after all? So, but you have enthusiasts out there that want to see what they can do and tinkering with their devices. So unless you belong to that group, absolutely no need for doing such a thing.
I just want to say that you need to unlock the bootloader to flash the ROM. That's the only thing. But rooting is not recommended if you don't want to flash the ROM. Just rooting is not recommended.
Yeah, but even if it's not recommended, the OEMs shouldn't give themselves the authority to make it harder. So I have the capability to do whatever I want with my phone. This should be protected and respected. So if I want to even break the phone, I have the right to. So I think what Samsung is doing is something crazy and something that shouldn't be done.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with you, Karine. It's your phone after all, right? So you can do whatever you want with it. But Samsung has, always been like the big boy in the house, and he can do whatever he wants to, and all of that. And lately though, we've seen a number of other manufacturers doing the same thing. I mean, Nokia, I'm looking at you, doing the same thing, and Motorola. I mean, they will kind of give you a token to unlock it, but lately it seems like they're kind of like backing off or not doing it as they used to. So I think it all comes down to they all believe, oh, we're keeping you safe. But, the people know what they're doing. Anyone that wants to boot unlock their phone knows exactly what they're doing. So give the people that choice, that is the people who know what they're doing, to do what they want to do, instead of that, blanket denial. I think it's not right.
And I think some of the
I
software
think-
settings have gone a bit that way in Android, probably 13, I think. That thing where unused apps get all their permissions revoked. You can stop that on an app-by-app basis, but I don't think you can stop it happening globally, and you really should be able to. It just needs to be, I don't want any of my apps ever to have their permissions revoked button, but I'm pretty sure there isn't.
I think all these OEMs have got very powerful because of some YouTube videos that don't have like the boilerplate warning. Unlocking the bootloader may have chance of breaking your phone. So I think the OEMs have got to the powerful, because service centers, they are getting full with people. Oh, I've unlocked the bootloader, I've bricked my phone, because people do it by just seeing YouTube videos.
And you made a very important comment there, Ed, most especially about accessing certain portions of the phone, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of the file managers are not doing what they used to do, because of that restriction. And like I said, frankly, if anyone is doing this, they know what they're doing, and they should be.
You're listening to the Blind Android Users podcast.